What up, y'all? Welcome to another episode.
Put the bridge down. I feel like busting loose. Give me the bridge now. I feel like busting loose now.
There's only this because in boxing, one punch can change it, no matter who you are, no matter how good you are.
I love her because she from the hood though.
Ooh.
From the hood though. She like really from the hood.
Loose make you feel fine. Talking about busting loose.
That Stott said Nate will never live that down. No, he won't. But it's not about, it's about how he gets up.
They doing that. They doing that Wakanda scene when they was just like,
It's about your heart because you can get knocked down so many times and people can make fun of you, but it's about that resilience. What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing? Welcome to another episode of Ringside with Ray and Prince. Look, today we got something special for you, and that special thing is called Tale of the Tape, where we're going to be telling our stories today. We had to do this pre-recorded because we're traveling and we need to make sure that we get something to you this Thursday. So thank you for rolling with us, supporting us. Hey, make sure that you subscribe, hit that like button, and share. All right, tell everybody about this. You don't want to miss this episode. This is a really good one. So let me go ahead and jump right in and tell you a story about myself.
You know, I had to hear about you and Ray Lewis. I love that story. It's one of my favorite ones that you got smacked, but he didn't tackle the quarterback.
Oh, man, Ray. You got me telling the story about Ray Lewis? Man, yeah. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Prince Daniels Jr. I'm a former running back for the Baltimore Ravens. And I'm going to give you a story about my rookie year in the NFL in 2006 in training camp with Ray Lewis. Ray had to bring this one up, man. So my rookie year, I get drafted to the Baltimore Ravens. I'm excited. I'm looking at our defense. The Ravens are the number one defense. We had everyone from Chris McAllister, Samari Rowe, to Ed Reed, to DeJuan Landry. Man, the defense was stacked, and I was in awe. But I wasn't afraid of anybody. So at the time, we had Coach Brian Billick as our head coach. And we're in training camp, and I think it was about the second or third day we started to go live. That means you have full pads and you're hitting. So this one particular day, the one defense was going against the two offense. And so I was running with the twos at the time, interchanging with some of the other running backs that we had. So it was a 5-man protection. And I have to pick up the 6th man who's ever coming in to blitz. I think at the time, either Kyle Bowler or Troy Smith was the quarterback. And he lines up in the line, calls Hut. And when he calls Hut, I go through my cadence. So I did my reading within like 8 seconds. And sure enough, when he called Hut, one of the linemen said, Mike 52, Mike 52. So sure enough, guess who comes through the middle? Ray Lewis. And he's coming in with a full head of steam. And I remember saying to myself, go and knock his ass out. I don't care who he is. I don't care if you look up to him, if he's your idol, go and hit him. So what did I do? I ran into that hole. I closed my eyes and I gave him all that I had. Boom! I hit Ray, man. I hit him because the reason I know I hit him because he jerked back. And when he jerked back, he grabbed me. He grabbed my shoulder pads and he slung me like a little rag doll, like a little tissue paper. And the whistle blew. We got the first down. And I remember my teammates coming over to me, the running back crew. They was tapping me on the head like, good job, boy, good job. I'm like, good job, man, what you mean? He just tossed me on the floor like a rag doll, man. What you mean, good job? And they asked me, they said, hey, did he sack the quarterback? And I answered the question like, nah, he didn't. Well, you did your job. And it's like, what? Okay. Oh, I did my job. And at that moment, that was my first moment of clarity of being in the NFL and understanding the game. I always thought that you had to go in and hit somebody and knock them out. But if you do your job, then you will stay in the NFL for a long time and avoid injuries as well. So that was my lesson that I learned during my rookie year. And even when I tell this story, to Ray Lewis, and till this day, he laughs. But it was a learning moment for me, man. And I just wanted to share that with you all. So that's my tale of the tape. All right.
Hey, what up, y'all? Ringside. This is Ray Leonard Jr. Prince, man, the stories that you told was crazy. I got some tales of the tape too. So many great stories, so many things have happened. But one of the first ones I want to tell is about one of my father's fights. It was back in June 25th, 1981. He was fighting this dude named Ayub Kalule, tough African fighter in Houston. And this guy was undefeated, 36-0. It was a warm-up fight before my father fought Thomas Hearns. And it was a whole scene where everybody thought, no, he should not be taking this fight. This guy was big. He was strong. We had just come off of the 7-Up success, the 7-Up commercial. Everything was wonderful. But it was early on in the career. It was like a rocket ship that was happening that people knew us. There was jealousy happening. There were letters and things that were coming to our house and different threats and stuff like that was happening. But nobody actually thought that anything would ever happen because it was just a boxer and a young kid and young wife. So leading up to the fight, there was a lot of gamesmanship going on because Ayub Kalule was from Africa, so he had some kind of voodoo or his religion was a little bit different. There were some bad omens that happened, and things got kind of out of hand in the walk up to the fight. My father's side was very, very cognizant about playing the right games to get in somebody's head before the fight. So he had fears of different things that was part of his religion. And we played upon that. So on our side, we would play games with Ayub Kalule and his family and his crew. And then, we thought there were some things going on because we started getting calls at the hotel of threats against me and kidnapping me. We didn't really think much about it. So the fight comes up. It happens. My father decides he wants to stand toe-to-toe with this assassin, this cat, Ayub Kalule, 36-0 champion. He wants to stand toe-to-toe with him and fight in the ring because he wanted to show Thomas Hearns, who was commentating ringside, that if I'm going to fight you next, I'm not just going to be the pretty boy boxer. I wouldn't say it was the smartest thing to do, but he did it. He went through this fight, walking this cat down, was winning every single round. And then in the 7th round, Ayub Kalule came back. He landed some punches, and they were like, hey, you need to go back to your boxing and do what you're going to do. But my pops was determined to say, I'm going to show you that I'm not just a pretty boy that can dance. And he stuck to his guns, walked through them in the 8th round, and then in the 9th round, he just finally found a way to get down and knock Kalule down for the first time in his career and put him out towards the end of the 9th round. So after that, we were excited. My father did a front flip to end the fight. And you can see we are being elevated to a certain level in the boxing game that people didn't like. The people were like, why is this young black man from Palmer Park, Maryland, getting all this attention? Why is he making all this money? And the threats actually came to fruition. So after the fight, I was in front of the hotel. I was hanging out. And then all of a sudden, in front of the hotel, this white van pulls up. This white van pulls up, and then I'm looking at them. These guys jump out, and they run, and they see me walking, and they grab me. They grab me and start pulling me towards the van, and I start screaming and kicking. I'm fighting, punching, I'm biting people. I'm doing everything I can. And then all of a sudden, you see the hotel security and people start coming. The people outside start trying to help pull me back. And I remember I think it was one of the security guards that had like a nightstick or something that started swinging and hitting the guys. And so they jumped back in the van and left out. We finally figured out who it was. It was a Ku Klux Klan trying to kidnap me. And from that point on, I ended up having security. I had a guy named Greg Spriggs, they call him Big Greg, that was looking out for me. He was like 6'6", 300 plus pounds, and sat outside my classroom from that day on. But it was a weird thing, and it's scary that you never look at the opposite situations of what's happening, in this kind of life. Everybody looks at it from a standpoint and gets excited and say, I wish I had your life. But you don't know the underpinnings of the stuff that's happened and the stuff that went on. So, when you look at it, some of these stories I've never told before. So when you look at it and you hear what happened, it'll really enlighten you to some of the things that we went through, the crowds, the drama, the craziness. It was an exciting life, but it was also a very, very dangerous life. So now I just wanted to kind of give y'all that information so you can see a little bit more of the background of what really happens ringside at these events. And I had a front row seat. So that's the tale of the tape, Ray Leonard Jr. So I got one more story, Prince. I got a story about late in my career, man. I became a sports agent. My homeboy was another boxer named Sugar Shane Mosley. We just kind of hit it off right off the top. So we would see each other randomly back at different events and things like that. And when he was climbing the ladder, he was getting to the top of the division. He reached out to me and said, Ray, I'm looking for somebody to help me represent me. I said, Shane, I really don't do a whole lot with boxers, so I don't know. So he came to Maryland. He was there for like a month and like convincing me to represent him. And I just love that relationship. We play basketball, we go work out. He's still really one of my greatest friends right now to this day. And we got to jump in the journey, helping market, helping do promotions for him, getting him build his name up, getting him to the big fight. The big fight that everybody wanted to see was Oscar De La Hoya. And so Oscar never backed down from anybody. He was always looking for the next big fight. But it was very, very dangerous for him to fight this young and up-and-coming kid, Sugar Shane Mosley, who was just tearing through the division, just beating everybody up. And he had this thing that they call power boxing. Finally, the Oscar De La Hoya fight got signed. In Los Angeles, California, the big boy fight. And we said, you know what? We need to match what he is doing. We need to bring Shane up to that same kind of thought process. We need to give him that same energy and elevate his name and his image. So if you go back and watch the fight, you get to see who came into the ring with them. I mean, you got top tier rappers. You got Kevin Garnett. We had Eric Sermon make a song. We had the craziest after party in the world because we all knew what most of the critics didn't know is that Shane had prepared so long that he was ready to take De La Hoya down. He was ready to knock him off his throne. We sat there and watched that fight in LA, and every single round, we told Shane, like, you can't leave anything to chance. You got to go in there and take it from the champion, which he eventually did. A hell of a fight. The fight was thrilling. It was exhilarating. And then afterwards, we had the sickest after party. It was insane. They shut down Sunset for the venue that we had booked the venue. We had Will Smith there. We had Jamie Foxx on the mic. We had Ice-T. We had all the NBA players, all the stars. It was so crazy and so packed that we were worried about the fire department shutting us down. And so we had to keep some of the biggest stars in the world from coming into the event. Now, when you see the video of who was in the house and what we were doing, it was like a party like no other. Everybody has their celebrity parties, but this was fun. Everybody was wide open. They were partying their tails off, and it was just one of those experiences that you look back as a business person, as an agent, as a sports fan, and think, wow, we've made it. We've done something special. We got to celebrate with our guy that had just done the impossible and beat the Golden Boy. And we threw the most epic party in the world. Prince, I'll show you the back end video that I can't show everybody on here. But, hey, it was special.
Right. That's a crazy story, man. Come on, man. Kidnap? Bro. All right. Well, let me tell my story, man. So, after my career was over and I got let go by the Ravens, man, I was lost. I was trying to search for my identity. I had an identity crisis. I didn't know who I was. I was the running back for the Baltimore Ravens, Prince Daniels, and not saying I'm Prince Daniels and I'm a running back for the Baltimore Ravens. So my identity got caught into being a professional athlete more than being myself. And so, man, after football was over, I ran into a brick wall, which a lot of athletes do, because that transition process, you really don't have any guidance or another platform where you can transition smoothly. So for me, everyone was encouraging me to go back to school and go and get my degree, but I felt that was not of value for me. I needed to understand what life was about. I needed to understand who I was. I was lost. And so luckily for me, I had two uncles that were already living at a monastery. So, I decided that I wouldn't go to a monastery and go and spend time there and figure out what I needed to help me for my life. Because at that moment in time, I was really at a deep point in my life, at a down point in my life, and I was ready to end it all. I was ready to commit suicide, and thank God I didn't. But uh, uh, this led me to a monastery that I was actually going to when I was playing football. And the reason why I was going there because I was looking to learn a higher level of discipline. And so I felt that I could translate that to the field, just being able to be disciplined and take my mind to a whole nother place and be able to zen out on everybody. But after my career was over, I had to fall back on mindfulness and meditation. And so it led me to the monastery. So, man, my first day at the monastery, I tell you, it was like a shell shock, a culture shock, and I didn't know what was going on. Like everything that you can imagine that happens at a monastery was no talking, you fast, you're drinking water, you're constantly meditating. Man, it was so new for me. I wanted to get the hell up out of there. I wanted to run. I'm not gonna lie, because the energy was so high and concentrated. I didn't know what to do. And so I was saying to myself, like, man, what is going on over here? How is it that all of these individuals here are able to like reach this high level of discipline just through the sheer discipline of being able to meditate and go within so you can go up. So for me, about the third day is when I started to settle, and I started to talk more to myself and say, okay, this has to be the norm for me, because if not, this is my last lifeline. And so I had to learn how to sit with myself and be okay with my shame, my embarrassment of being prematurely let go from the NFL. So just being at the monastery, it taught me so many things. It taught me about discipline, about at a very high level, and it also taught me about compassion and understanding who I am and being comfortable and happy. Understand that that was what I did, but it wasn't who I was. And so once I started to identify with who I was and not my career, my occupation, then that's when I became Prince, the son of a king. Now it's that time for staying above the ropes. This is our words of wisdom. So I told you 2 stories today. Ray told you 2 stories as well. But let me convey my point for my story that I want you to take away from that. I shared with you how I hit Ray Lewis. And even though I took a physical blow, I took an emotional blow as well. Because I thought when he threw me to the ground, that took away from my manhood and my strength. But in reality, it was actually for the greater good of the team. So know that sacrifices is really good and great for the overall team, the overall plan. So don't get caught up in your emotions. Just make sure that you do your job. And that's what I did. I did my job. Even though it hurt me emotionally, I still did my job. And my teammates recognized and acknowledged me for that. And they told me that I did a wonderful job. So just keep that in mind. Remember, sometimes you just got to make sacrifices for the greater good of the team, a team, or your team. My second story, what I want you to take away from me being at the monastery is know when it's time to make a change. Sometimes we manifest things and the change can come through that manifestation without you ever imagining that that is the pathway. But stick to the process no matter what you do. The monastery taught me about being disciplined and doing my job, showing up every day, even when I don't want to be there. You sit down, you practice meditation, you go within. When you go within, you enlighten your mind. My takeaway to you is stick to the process. Don't veer away from the journey. We all have a journey. But make sure you are able to adapt to the change that may come in your life. That's my take on staying above the ropes. Ray, you got any last words?
My words of wisdom. So this one is about owning the opportunity. We all start to look at situations and say, you know, this happened to me. I couldn't control what happened. Like a wise man told me, either you coach it or you let it happen. You got to put yourself in that space and be always prepared for any opportunity that comes up. If you want to be successful, you got to be prepared. You got to control you. You got to control the opportunity around you. If you're letting life happen to you, then you're not living life the right way, because we control our own destiny. And the more you focus on how you get there, and the more you take control of any kind of situation, the better off you will be. So that's my 2 cents. That's my words of wisdom. Know better, do better.
Man, look, that's the end of our show. We're wrapping it up. Look, we'll be back next week, regular scheduled program with our guests and with Ray and I, making sure that we educate you, entertain you, and empower you. Okay? So hope that you can join us next week. Make sure that you subscribe, like, and share this with someone that you care about and that you love. Make sure that you join us. We'll see you next week. Y'all have a good weekend. All right? Peace and power. We out.